number 2. So I am live on Twitch and the title got messed up. And on YouTube, I'm guessing that again the strange thing will start. This is why I don't do stream every day. You cannot just focus on coding because some things can go wrong. On Code Forces today, I couldn't add a YouTube stream there. Okay, let's do it just like it is right now. I will just fix the titles. If I remember correctly, on Twitch, it's still the VOD will be saved under the title coding title 0 or something. Okay, Twitch name is fixed. And then YouTube. This, and I need to now edit. Save. And finally on Code Forces, let's make it visible again. Okay, so is it good now? Code Forces redirects to Twitch. And this is not muted, so for a moment you will hear echo. On Twitch I am live, and on YouTube I am live. On the main channel, I don't know how many times I actually live streamed on the main channel. Okay, I wanted to only stream on YouTube, but to be honest, Code Forces didn't allow me to put a link to YouTube stream, so we'll see how it goes. If the chat becomes too hard to handle, I will block the chat on one of the two platforms. Sorry if there is some spam. Also, let me know and tag me if somebody is particularly annoying. Hello, Lakshay. I remember you from the chat. What kind of contest is this? It's every day there is a new problem appearing in December up to the 25th of December, but it's mostly implementation, understanding the statement. So far it's not very algorithmic, but many people know about it. I wish that the problem style was slightly different, but still it's something. I'm going to display on screen which problem I'm solving. This will be like, let's say, first will be 7 part 1. Will this be visible? Nope. Here you go. And then if I change this to something else, so later if this will be, let's say, problem 12 part 2, no, so this I will need to then align it differently. Should it maybe be displayed below? Not sure. We'll see, maybe I will move this information. So this will be for people to faster find what they are looking for. Hi Gupta. Yeah, you can ping on Discord, that's fine. You can do it. That being said, of course, it's not a very hard competitive programming stream. It's easier problems. Day 6 was often possible. I saw that somebody mentioned a functional graph. I didn't think about it. For the last few days, I was in a programming camp. Where is day 6? So this comment I saw, but it doesn't affect the time complexity. But I saw somebody talking about functional graph. Oh, Gupta was that. We can do functional graph. We change up to 4 edges. So we will follow something. But we need to know if we change an edge, we need to know which of the 4 special edges is hit again, right? I don't know if it's that trivial. So just in case I will do this, later I will think more. You cycle between up to 4 nodes. But when you change 4 edges in a functional graph, it's complicated what new thing happens. If you follow one of those edges, you need to know if you go outside of the grid, sure, but also you need to detect if you go again to one of those 4 edges, or you hit again this node. I'm able to believe that this is doable like that, simply, but also it smells like some kind of, I don't know, binary lifting. Use the alt edges for big jumps. I'm not going to think about it now. No. Batman, you saying, I was introduced to your videos when I was 15 with your setup, now working at Silicon Valley. Really? When did I start? How old are you right now, Batman? 9459. You were 15, you saw my video. Well, I guess if you're around 20 now, that's possible. Some people told me already in the past that they started from my videos and then they actually now work in some companies, but it's not that they started when they are 15. Now you're 19. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, nice to hear that. Let's prepare some setup. Genie. Let's go to the Advent of Code 2024. Later I will add all of that to GitHub. Okay, we will start from 07, right? Those files I can close. I can copy just this. And we're ready to start. I have grown beard since your last stream, Missed Human. Well, congrats on the beard, I see. What college did I graduate? Actually, none. I did University of Warsaw and I sometimes teach there, but I didn't graduate. All right, let's go. We will do problems 7 through 12. That's 6 problems right now. Let me know if you notice any technical issues about the stream. All right, everything seems to work. We have right now 60 views or viewers on Twitch and 100 on YouTube. Good. So let's go. Problem 7, and I'm going to display it. That's 7 part 1. Or maybe I should just say 7. 7 part 1. Yeah, okay. Do remind me to change this. So somewhere here there always will be information about the current problem I'm solving. 7 part 1 right now. Why don't I work for Fang? I don't know. I don't need it. where to reach out if I forget my password again. Codeforces or email. Let's go. And stopwatch. Historians. Stole all the operators from the equations. For example, we want 190 to get from those. Each line represents a single equation. We evaluate from left to right, so we don't care about the order of operations. And what is their total calibration result? Get the input. All right, we can do it exponentially or with dp. $850 possibilities. Should we do dp? Let's do recursive dp. I think that will be fine. So we read this, then numbers. Let's try to read it using scanf. Maybe that's possible. Bits. So always, I don't know, while true. Let's start reading properly without hard coding the number of lines. Okay, result. Read with this character, so a colon. Then while something will read a vector, we will read numbers to a vector. Read x, v pushback x, scan a single character. If this character is a space, then continue, else break. And should I also try for end of file? I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll see what happens. For now, print the result. 07 on in. So we keep repeating forever. C++ scanf elf while maybe this. Not elf. Do you not? I guess you don't see a line. What about now? I read one line too much. I read this. Oh, long is needed. So this is fine. I don't know if the statement mentioned the size of values. I guess not. Okay, seems good. In a vector we have numbers, and I'm going to recursively try inserting all the operators. We can only two types, add and multiply. So this is like recursion, where if I get some result in multiple ways, I don't consider them separately. With such short sequences, it doesn't matter what I do with them. Whether it will slow down because of memorization, but let's try to make this. Well, it's not even better time complexity if this is the case. Okay, let's do recursion. We have recursion where now we are looking at this index and sorry, we have this value so far. This is a target. As constant value we pass this vector and we'll try to add or multiply the next number. If I is equal to the end, so if we already processed all the values, if sum is equal to the target, then good. I don't know, return true. I don't know. I don't really like returning in function like this one. I will just say OK becomes true and return. OK means that I found a result. And if this is not the case, return you do no matter what. And otherwise we try to add or multiply this value. Sum plus v of I, target v, okay, and sum times, well, then sum is not really a good word. The first number, I don't have a choice of add versus multiply, so I will just do recursion of index 1. The sum is just the first number, the target is result, then v, then OK, which is by default false. And if OK, then total answer plus equal result. We need to find the sum. Total answer. We need to find the sum of everything. Everything that is reachable. This, and we can add memorization, which would make sense if n was long and the target was small. Right answer. That was 550. Let's now do part 2. This name. You still see it, right? Yeah. Smart solution I saw evaluating backwards. You can rule out invalid cases. You can certainly return if you exceed the target, but going backwards, I see that divisibility becomes important. That's smart. Concatenation combines the digits as strings, so we have just one more operation. Okay, then one more thing. Recursion of I plus 1, and now toString is a function, I think, plus toString of v of I, and now how do I change string to this stall of that, or this point stall? We'll see. Target v, okay. This works. Okay, and now it got slower, significantly slower. That's the right answer. Okay, that wasn't really a challenge to do this harder version. How can I learn coding on good level without spending big amount of money? The internet. C++ course free. I don't know this. Generally, Khan Academy is good source of knowledge. No. Khan Academy. This thing. In Codeforces and similar websites, you can start learning competitive programming, but I don't think it's perfect for everybody. But if you want to learn competitive programming, then check out Competitive Programmer's Handbook. So this thing, if you want to do what I do, well, if you want to start doing what I do. Okay, problem 7 done. So now we click this. No. This I can close, right? Problem 8. Change of title. By title, I mean the name that you see like here. And we can continue. Resonant collinearity. Huge antenna. Frequency indicated by a single lowercase letter, uppercase letter, or digit. You create a map of these antennas. Perfectly in line with two antennas of the same frequency. Only when one of the antennas is twice as far as the other. So, okay, for 2 points, if they are equal characters, then we investigate points that are collinear with them, but further away, so that the distance to this would be exactly half of that. Okay. This is like intersection of circles. I will draw it. They are basically saying that, well, I guess this is called Apollonius circle in general, but this is a point that is twice closer to this versus that. Are there other such points? Yeah, here there is also such point. I think that this is a set of all the points that are twice closer to this A versus that A. There is a term for that, but in this problem they don't consider it that precisely. If you want to look it up, Apollonius circle is the term, this thing, and there is a formula for how to get it exactly. It turns out surprisingly that almost always the set of points that is within some ratio of distance to one point versus the other, it forms a circle with except for 1-to-1 ratio. Adding a third antenna with the same frequency creates several more such situations. Sure, for every 2 points that are the same character, we consider moving from here, there, and even more into the same vector. So maybe to make a drawing, for any 2 equal character like this versus that, we consider a vector from one to the other. If we apply this vector again, then we get a valid point for something. We need to count unique locations. I didn't start a timer. Remind me if I forget about it. How many unique locations? Okay, easy. Oh, and that's a very small map. This is 08 CPP. Bits using namespace std. Let's again use scanf. For every row, as long as reading this row, A of row, oh, you don't see it, sorry, is not end of file, row plus plus, do nothing. I wonder if this works. Can I now print the row? I guess so. Yay, I can learn until end of file. From 0 to 49, good. Okay, now for every column, oh, I need to get the width. The width should be a constant. For every cell, if it's not a dot, then where this character appears, push back or place back this cell. Now for every character, I will have a list of cells where it appears. 256 is the number of ASCII values possible. So this thing, a character A will be treated as its ASCII value, which is from 0 to 255. What do you want? Is this a warning? Okay. And what else? This. Now, we need to iterate this again. So for every character up to 256, you could also use this with a map, but well, maps are almost always slower. For every pair of positions, which is, well, quadratic, and this can be done faster with convolution. Yeah, I know the timer is off, but I didn't start it when I started reading the problem. I don't want to start it now because what's the point? But thank you, AC. So if you want to do this faster, I believe this can be done with FFT/convolution. Even in 2 dimensions it can be done, where for every pair of values, equal values, you can consider what is their sum or the difference. But here we are not doing that. It will be like 100 times harder than what I'm doing here in quadratic time. Also, we would need to run FFT for every character separately, so it wouldn't be significantly faster. Okay, so now let's take this vector. For convenience, I'm going to do this, so that from now on I can refer to the vector v instead of, I don't need to keep writing where of c, where of c, where of c. For every pair, we need to search. Actually, let's do every pair like that, just assuming that I is not j, because I'm going to do from one character to the other in one direction and the other direction. So now I know row, column, oh, C I already am using. Let's use Z. Z as for character. Okay, this is second. Row 2, column 2. We have coordinates of 2 cells. Now I want to this second one add the vector from one to the other. This is R2 plus the difference, R2 minus R. You can simplify it a little bit, but generally we have this, and here similarly this column plus the difference. This will move you further away from the other antenna, and I don't know, if this is inside of bounds, so if 0 smaller equal this, rho smaller equal h, which I don't have right now, and column smaller than w, then now I can use a set, of course. Set is not as fast as a Boolean array. So first I want h. Every time when I read a row, let's assign the height of the grid like this. Then instead of set, I will use a faster Boolean array. I don't know, yes. And I will say here, if not yes, then mark it as yes, and answer plus plus. Ion 259. I'm going to, instead of copy pasting for the first time, entering the value. That's the right answer. Part 2. Text 8, part 2, timer, run. How do you understand the complete problem statement by just skimming over it? Well, yeah, experience. Same with reading books fast, right? Well, maybe it's different, but almost always the first paragraph doesn't matter. If I don't understand something, then I will get back to the previous paragraph. And they even have parts in bold. Any grid position exactly in line with at least 2 antennas of the same frequency. So now everything collinear matters. This T frequency. Okay. So now if I see 2 antennas, I can look at the vector between them, and I want to find all the points collinear with them. If, for example, one is at position RC and the other at position R plus 10, C plus 8, then there is something in between as well, R plus 5, C plus 4, right? It's exactly in the middle. And in order to find such vector from one to the other and use the equation for a line that passes through the 2 points, I can divide the difference by greatest common divisor. 10 and 8 have the greatest common divisor of 2. Divide by 2, you will get 5 and 4. So let's say delta x is this, delta y is that, greatest common divisor, divide both, and now you can iterate the full grid, and well, this antenna plus all the multiples of that, those are good positions, as long as they do not have any other antenna. Yeah. Let's say as long as it's not one of those two. So let's do the following. starting from 1, no, I is taken, so it's some kind of multiplier m. Some condition m plus plus. I'm going to say row is r2 plus delta x times m, c2, no, just row, plus delta y times m. So this is such multiplier here. I will just say true. If this is outside, which I have here, so okay, if this, and this is not by coincidence that other antenna, because I don't think that should be counted. So if make pair of row column is not that other antenna, then we do this. Else break, because now you're outside the grid. And I'm going to repeat this twice because I want to also go the other direction. Is it necessary? Yes, I think it is necessary. So, and between the two repetitions, I'm going to multiply my vector delta x delta y by 2. So, sorry, by -1. So I will go the other direction. The answer increased. Not the right answer. For the first time during this advent of code, my answer is too high. Okay, what's my take on LLM users trying to get top ranks? Yeah, stupid. Other antennas are also counted, but wasn't it the same issue before? I can here say, and a of row call is equal to this. If so, I don't even need to make this check, I believe. The answer slightly decreased, and I guess this should have the same answer. Yeah. Okay, so apparently I shouldn't count positions of antennas. Return for other antennas, and in the easy version, I need to wait 3 seconds. In the easy version, this didn't happen. Not the right answer. Curiously, it's the right answer for someone else. So is the input randomized? Interesting. Gupta, I think I need to do 2 reps because if, I guess it depends. I wanted to say, what if one antenna is here and the other is here, and from there I will start going outside, and from this I will start going outside. Like, I will only consider vectors outside, but I guess I will always consider going towards each other. So you're right, that shouldn't be necessary. Still, I have some bug. So I'm guessing if I do this, the answer should stay the same. Wait, why did it decrease almost twice? That's very strange. So my issue is, for example, but I check yes. This is not exactly double, but I'm talking about something like that. If one point is 5,5 and the other is 8,5, then from 5,5 I was afraid that we will go only outside to 4,5, 3,5. That being said, here I think we indeed go towards. Well, greatest common divisor, I don't know if it can be negative. Are they always positive? How is it guaranteed? It's not guaranteed. I don't know how greatest common divisor is defined if one of those values is negative. Try it on the example input. Okay, good point. Not here. So wait, what counts as sample inputs? The hashes I don't think should count. So this is the sample input, right? Sample 24, that's too little. First of all, let's revert back the repetition. 42, too much. Well, I can print the grid. Let's print 1, else let's print the grid cell, which is A of row col, I think. And now I'm marking too much. For example, I'm marking this. Who is marking that? Why? Or that? Input always has GCD of 1? I don't know. You have taken absolute value. Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, AC1, 2, and so on. Yeah, you're right. That's stupid. That wasn't really vector. If one point was here and the other there, the vector between them should say go down by 3 and then go right by -10. But instead of 3, -10, what I used is 3, 10, which is stupid. It was saying from here go somewhere to the right. Yeah, that wasn't correct. 27 isn't correct either. By the way, does this change anything? Yes, it does. So 2 repetitions are necessary. 27. They didn't say that 27 is correct, right? Yeah. Okay, so what now is different? 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Now it seems the same so far. It does seem the same. Isn't it the same? Including the antinodes that appear on every antenna? So I shouldn't check that. Why did it change? And I guess start from 0 because the antenna itself you need to mark. 34, okay. Submit. That's the right answer. That was 10 minutes and a half with help from the chat. Well, my first fail in the advent of code, and that was a big one. So thank you, chat. In serious competition, like a code forces round, even if I was absolving, I wouldn't want help from the chat. Here, well, it's not that I treat this contest that seriously. Yeah, chat helped me first time. That's true, because in problem 7 it wasn't necessary, I think. And in previous problems, I didn't live stream. 10 minutes with reading the chat and talking. Well, if I read the chat to get hints, then it's not really something that slows me down, right? How do I easily, well, let's make a template CPP, where I will just put those few lines. Now it will be faster for me to start. Okay, next, 9 part 1, text updated, timer reset, 9, start, let's go. He shows you the disk map. Dense format to represent the layouts of files and free space. Digits alternate between length of a file and the length of free space. So 2 for file and 3 for free. Okay, so every second digit is for size of the file. Each file on disk also has an ID number based on this. So I guess this is first, second, and so on, starting with ID 0. So this is ID 0, 1, and so on. Okay. Move file blocks one at a time from the end of the disk to the leftmost free space block until there are no gaps remaining between file blocks. So we first get this representation. And this one, you move to the leftmost available block. Okay. Final step is file compacting process to something checksum. Add up the results of multiplying each of these blocks' position with the file ID number, and then you what? Add all those products. It's a single, so maybe if there is a warning that it's a single very long line, maybe finally time complexity will matter. Oh, I guess not. Let's save this. It has around 4,000 characters, so not that much. This is 09.cpp. Okay, what are we working with? We are working with digits. So there are very small parts, like 7 slots taken, then 8 empty, 3 taken, and so on. Then we need to work from the end, look at those 7 or 2 slots, and to the leftmost available position, where I can have a vector or set or something like that of available positions, or I can use a segment tree of type maximum to do it faster, which I'm not going to implement, but I'm going to explain briefly how to do it in logarithmic time per insert, because that can be done fast. Okay, and what then? I need to still know the ID of every block multiplied by the position. The statement is so hard to understand. Well, I need to read. That's not very flexible. Let's read it like that. When you read with scanf, you need to specify size of the array. You cannot read a string. So sin is better instead of scanf here. All right, we have, let's iterate it. If this is even, then it's a real block, it's a real file. And how do I want to represent it? I'm not really sure. Let's create a struct block. It will have ID, size, and position. Position starts as 0. So let's see. Size is s of I, or maybe let's read this digit. S of I minus 0. that will give me a number that this digit corresponds to. In this case, blocks pushback block that has ID, size, and position. That's just position. No matter what, position increases by the digit. And there is a vector of blocks. Thank you, Gupta, for explaining the thing with ratios. Then, now slow version would be, this is, well, quadratic. While true, we take the last block, me is blocks.back, blocks pop back, and I try to insert anywhere. It cannot go before the first block, but what I can do is this. And I wonder if it fits between two consecutive blocks. So I know one position is blocks of I dot position plus blocks of I dot size. This is where it ends, or the first available slot. Then I plus one position, this is where the next block starts. And now I wonder if B minus A is enough to fit me. If this, then exactly here I need to insert this block, blocks insert, exactly here, which is begin plus I, and that's this block, except that the position changes. The position is equal to A, that's the first available slot, so me. And break. If this happened, then good. Inserted, change to true. And if not inserted, then it can break. That being said, then we need to insert it back to the blocks. Blocks, or maybe me position is, let's read where the last one starts, because I guess the last one still will be shifted. Okay, this 6, 6 will be shifted just after this one. So blocks back position plus blocks back dot size. This is where it goes, blocks push back me. Then no match for what? Back. Then there is some answer for every block. Answer plus equal. I don't know if long is necessary. Well, no, it's not. Block dot size times the ID. What did they want? Result of multiplying each of these blocks position with the file ID. Okay, and if this produces some answer for the input, I'm not going to be afraid of submitting. Well, that's not right. I should have been afraid of submitting. This is the sample one. And what did they say that it should be? This. So I'm way too low. Does this correspond to this long string? I think so. Maybe first we should say we should run it for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but do they provide the answer? Well, let's try this smaller sample. Small 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 9, small 15. And what should it be? This. Wait. There's something. I misunderstand the statement, I see. I see Gupta is saying, are we doing part 1? How did you know what part 2 was? There is no sound? How? Okay, it's just an issue for somebody. Okay, that's stupid. Why would you move part of a file? And you're telling me that this is correct for part 2? But then the file has multiple positions. What's going on? Each of these blocks position with the file ID number it contains. Okay, so we have this final thing and we just multiply 0 by 0 and so on. Okay, it's a different problem. So if you're telling me that this is part 2, then I'm going to copy it. 09 CPP 09 part 2. Here, and 09 I'm going to now modify. Apparently, I just need to go from the end and always take the first available empty slot, which is trivial. So I overcomplicated. Making digit blocks of size 1. I see. So I can split into smaller blocks. Let's do it both ways. So first, let's indeed do this cheat. If this repeat that many times where you push back this ID, digit is just 1, position plus rep, sample 137. I don't think that's correct. Way too low. Did I do it correctly? ID 1 position. Seems good to me, so maybe I have something wrong. I see 2 pointers suggested. Yeah, 2 pointers is possible. Just make a vector of empty slots and always take the first one. That's trivial. But did I mess up? Sample is right now this, right? Well, also, this is small, cut small. What should it be here? 2 times 1 plus 2 times 2, that's already 6. Plus 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be way bigger than what I have. Let's print the final information that I have. The positions are messed up completely. Are they correct before? That's reasonable. Okay, so somewhere in between I completely mess up the positions. Maybe the insert is not good. Take the last element. It has some size. For every 2 consecutive elements, you have the position plus size of one of them. Why is there here something with 0, 0? That's not correct, and it might mess up a lot of things. So maybe it wasn't good how I initialize 0, 0. Oh, this is good. Yeah, there is something at 0. And also let's print the size just in case. block.size size 1. Well, here it's correct, it's size 1. Position plus size, that's the first available. Position, that's the first taken. Space in between, it will be 1 if they are next to each other. Yeah. Position, insert, break. And in this case, position is the final plus size. I don't see a mistake. And yet what I get is stupid. Why is the order so strange? I keep inserting at the beginning. Oh, because I should insert after the ith element, at I plus first. 60? Well, let's try sample. I don't know what's the answer here. That's correct. Okay. Run for the input. Don't need this. I tried to insert between ith and I plus first element, and instead I inserted before the ith element. Oh. The answer is too low. I didn't expect that. For the sample, it was okay, right? 0.09 on sample. Maybe long. Well, the positions are small, right? So for the string was of length 4,000. Yeah, nothing changed for long. That would be very hard to debug because the test is huge. Let's let's implement the alternative way, and then while doing it think what maybe went wrong here. So we have just vector of everything. I know how to call it V. And I know empty available. What we do is always read the digit, and if this is the case, then that many times V push back this digit, no, the ID, which is I divided by 2. Else we push back a 0. So maybe let's do it this way. That many times anyway. If now this is something I add, then push back that, else V push back 0, and before that available push back the size of V. This will save indices where I added zeros. Now go from the end. Go from the end. If you see a non-zero, then try the next available position. Let's reverse available, because from vector it's easier to remove from the end. If not empty and the last position is smaller than your position, then this is where you go. V of avail back is equal yourself and avail pop back. Then there's answer, which is just the sum of products. Here let's as well do V of I 0. Now, does this work? 09 on sample, correct, 09 on in. That's the same answer. Did I copy wrong, maybe? That's strange. Get your input. I can save. It's sure input txt. 20,000 characters. Okay. I guess my limit for how much I copy is 4,000 characters, and this is what was copied. Thank you, Maxim. I didn't copy correctly. So I'm guessing now that the solution I had was correct. Yeah, that's the right answer. Can I, well, copy 09.cpp 09 easy.cpp. Now let's Control Z. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. And now 09 on in. That's correct, I think. Yeah. Okay. So this code was correct. My input was not. Well, happens. There was a warning. 22 minutes. That's not a good time. But maybe I already solved the hard version. Let's change the text. This is 9 part 2. Start the timer and continue to part 2. Remove whole files. If there is no space, then file does not move, but other files might continue moving. Okay, so was there some mistake that I then corrected here? I don't remember. Yeah, I+1. And if not inserted, then we do not break. They said that we should continue trying. Well, but then this block should remain here. Maybe what I should do is I shouldn't push back this. I should just say answer plus equal blocks back, or basically me.post times me.id, but without pushbacking, and then this will continue. So while maybe not blocks.empty. Seven, 1, 8, no. If not inserted, then we find the position, we add to the answer, and then we continue. Looks good to me. Part 1 can be done as one pass often with 2 pointers. That's what I did eventually. That was 09 easy. 09 easy is something where I find empty slots, and then going backwards, I don't have nested loops. So this was often easily. Part 2, if you want to do fast, you can do it with a segment tree of max, or maybe you can rely on the fact that the gaps are small, they are up to 9. So I think you can do 10 vectors, like 10 pointers, times length of the block. Oh, maybe. Two, 6, 1, 3. Well, closer. Oh, right. I need to do it over all the positions. So either this me.size j++ times not position but j, either this, or there is a formula of arithmetic progression. If I have position 5, then 6, 7, then there is a formula for 5 plus 6 plus 7. Nope, not this. What am I doing wrong? Position, me.position plus j. 277. Oh, come on. Well, doing advent of code for the first time, part 2 of day 9 ate my mind, but eventually managed to get a fast solution in Python. Well, you see, I solved part 2 by mistake, thinking I'm solving part 1, but it doesn't work. Slowly getting closer to the output. Yeah, maybe I should just add around 100 to the answer to make it right, and then hope for the best for the full input. Well, let's print what this looks like in the sample. Maybe first for that small thing. What? Position 65? That can't be right. Why are you so far away? Oh, the last element, there is some runtime error. While size is greater or equal than 2, the very last element you do not move. But still the last one I should consider when computing. So sample, this is just without the last element, and this thing I should still do for the last element. So I don't know, this. Me is blocks of 0, and I'm copy pasting 2 lines. That doesn't count. Why did it not change? Maybe the first element in this sample was length 1. Yeah. Okay. Small. 6, 2 and 1, 1. Is this correct? They do not say what should happen, but I can figure it out. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this goes here. And then this thing goes not to 2, it goes to position 1. No, it's correct. Oh, you're right, Gupta. First block doesn't matter because it has ID 0, so this cannot change anything. Okay, for small it seems that this is correct. And for this, let's string output of size position filled with dots. And when I mark this, I'm going to also say out of me position plus j is equal to a 0 plus my ID. Plus 1? No, that's it. And this thing I will also do. And print the out. Okay, we have something. Let's compare it. That's not correct. But for the small, it is correct. Should be 132 for small. But this, I don't see what's wrong here. I looked at part 1 explanation. Yeah, but if this is the input, then going from the end, and I understand this is how this is done, this thing gets moved here. So it starts at position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this gets moved here, so starts at position 1. I think this is correct. There are only 2 dots available. Okay, even one cannot get moved here because it itself blocks it. Okay, got it. So it's wrong that I pop back. I should do it this way. I guess I'm not allowed to do this. I try moving, and if it wasn't inserted anywhere, I'm not going to move it. Like that. Though this is not popped back. And if not inserted, then should I pop it back? I think so. $132. Somebody mentioned that. That's good. 2858. 2858. Yay. And something big. Hooray! Together, I and the chat can solve problem 9 part 2 in 10 minutes, including the 20 minutes for part 1 when I already solved it. Okay, and then quick information about that segment tree solution maybe before we move on. One way to find the leftmost position where something fits would be the following. Though again, because the gaps here are small, I think it can be done with like 10 pointers. Come on, drawing please. I have issues with my drawing tablet in the past 2 months, and still I am too lazy to order a new one, because it seems such a waste to throw away a drawing tablet if it sometimes works. Though I guess in my job it's so important to buy a new one. I should just order a new one today. And for example, now it doesn't work. Okay, still. Let's say that you have some gaps. And there are gaps, maybe 3, 5, 1, 7, 2, and so on. There are gaps. You can build max segment tree above it, where at every parent you write down the maximum of the 2 children. Continue with that. Continue with that. This is called segment tree of type max. And then when you want to find the leftmost space where something fits, something of, let's say, size 6, what you do is, let's say, to simplify, you start from the root, and if you want to find leftmost such position, then you always try to go left. You try to go left, and you check in your left child, is there something that is at least 6? So is there something below that will fit me, the value 6? 5 is too small, so I cannot go there. But my right child, the 7, is big enough, so I go there. I continue the process. My left child, are you big enough to fit 6? No. Right child, are you big enough? Yes. So I go there, and this way I will find the leftmost maximum in logarithmic time. Segment tree walk is what I did. Well, it's an overkill here, and 10 pointers wouldn't be that scary. It's just a vector of positions of gaps of different sizes, and I don't know if that's a vector or maybe a set, because sometimes you do modifications. So I think you can do set of int v of 10, and v of x is positions of gaps of size x. You can maintain this, so it won't be really 10 pointers. It sets and something is modified flexibly. And maybe you can do it with priority queues as well. Both of those solutions will be logarithm time per movement, so it's fast. It's not quadratic. You kept track of 9 heaps. Okay, then pbits, I think this is more similar to what you did. People in competitive programming mostly would use this, I think. Advent of code. Problem 9 solved. We have 3 problems to go. And I guess I have 9 hours to do it before the new one appears. Yes, all of that is an overkill. Whenever the size is 20,000, you can do quadratic time. Maybe in Python it will take several seconds, whatever. My logic was to add all the files in an array, then every dot means just add stuff from the back where the length matches. So you for dots decided what to do? But the order is important. Yeah, I don't know what you did exactly. Let's change the text. 10:1. Close this. Resize a little bit. Close tabs to the right. Did you know that in Chrome you can hit close tabs to the right? Very useful thing. Reset the timer. And you know, yeah, I need to move this a little bit. Okay. Start the timer. Problem 10 of Advent of Code. Hoof it. Topographic map. You can help fill in the missing hiking trails. We have the height at every position. 0 is height 0, 1. A good hiking trail is as long as possible and has an even gradual uphill slope. Any path that starts at height 0, ends at 9, always increases by a height of exactly 1. Trailhead is any position that starts one or more hiking trails, so a valid 0. The number of 9 height positions reachable from that trailhead. Okay. What is the sum of the scores of all trailheads? Right, so for every 0, I need to find the number of 9s that are reachable this way. I don't think that can be done in linear time unless you apply something crazy like dominators in a tree. Then maybe it's possible. Anybody knows in the chat? Is this solvable with this? Dominators in tree algorithm. Not really in tree, this thing. So this might solve it in linear time. And if not, well, I'm going to do it in quadratic time, size of the grid squared, which is for every 0, just run something, DFS, whatever you want. Doesn't need to be BFS. But maybe this can be solved fast for a grid 2000 by 2000. Also, it can be speed up with bit sets, I would say. So copy to 10.cpp. Get your puzzle input. And we'll use the logic from last time of reading. There is this. For row starting from 0, while scanf of A of row is not A of, row plus plus. Do this, and now for every 0, do I want what? DFS? Let's do DFS. BFS would also be okay. In DFS, I will need to reset visited between every runs. Well, in BFS, I also need to do it. I will show you a trick how to avoid that and also not use a set. So normally you would here mark as visited, then try all the 4 directions. Directions -1 0 1 0 0 -1 0 1 for every direction, row plus this, column plus that, if inside, and what, a of R2 C2 is equal to a of row column plus 1. So this is the next available digit and not visited, then DFS of R2C2. We do this, and if grid of row col is equal to 9, then I don't know, targets plus plus or something like that. Without we've visited, I think the solution might still work fast enough. It will be exponential, but might be okay. Now, after DFS, one thing you can do is clear everything for everything, but I will in a moment show you how to avoid that. Visited of ij is false. At the end, I think we can just print targets. It automatically will be the sum of everything, right? Inside, let's make this global. Let's also make visited of big enough size. No, not grid A. Targets 733. That's the right answer. Okay, now some tricks. If you have something like visited array, but you're, let's say, lazy, or you cannot afford to iterate it every time, there is a trick for that. And even if you do competitive programming, watch out, because it's not that well known. You can make the visited array integers, and you can set this to the current time. Not the current millisecond, it's like the current turn in the system. Let's say it starts as 0, whatever. Then here what you check, if visited is not equal to the current time, if it wasn't run in the same DFS run. And what you do after every DFS to clear the full array is time plus plus. It's like, I messed up. I use visited somewhere. It should start as time equal to 1, otherwise everything is 0. Yeah, now it works. So it's like coloring the grid, though every time we reset the color, so we don't care about the previous color. You can just remove the visited and it works here. Yeah, but it's then exponential. If you remove this, I wonder how fast it is. What am I doing wrong? Well, at least I need to collect. I cannot afford visiting 9s and counting them multiple times. So it would be here something like set insert row column or something equivalent, whatever. But then it might be exponential unless there is some way to explain why it won't be. Though it's exponential, maybe 2 to the power 10 or so it's very small anyway. I recommend this trick with marking as an integer instead of true false, and then just single command of time plus plus is able to reset the full visited array. Where do you learn these tricks? I solved around 5,000 problems, I guess. So, you know, you solve problems, you read editorials, and you learn. Then part 2, right? So including this advent of code, I will solve new problems, I will learn new things. Then part 2, reset the timer, continue. Whoops. Yeah. Number of distinct hiking trails which begin there. Sum of ratings of all trailheads. And the rating is the sum? Rating. Okay, so just same, but do the sum. Sure. Now we could just, let's think. Will it not work if I just do this? I wonder if it's that easy. So is that the answer? That's the right answer. Okay, that was the easiest part too. Solved in, well, less than a minute. No, but what is really now a fast solution is to add memorization and to do something like if already visited and just counted, return whatever is computed here, dp of row column. This can return the number of things that go from here to some 9s. Yeah, so there is, let's change this back to Boolean because I don't want to reset this. Time I don't need. dp will count the answer. Nope. If this is a 9, then return 1. There are no targets. I'm just now showing faster solution. If this total is 0, total plus equal, return dp of row column is equal to total. And we can as well here mark visited. Then answer plus equal. $15.14. Nope, I messed up. Some bug, or does it not work? So this should save the number of trails that go to 9 from here. In this case, it's 1, obviously. Otherwise, consider all directions, and if it's by 1 greater, there is still a requirement of being by 1 greater. We add up the sum of neighbors that are by 1 greater, and we return this. Why is it wrong? So I already solved the problem. I wanted to here show solution that is O of h times w. So O of size of the input, you can say it's linear then, or quadratic n by n. But something is messed up. dp of row column. Oh, I see. In this case, I don't save as one. Thanks, Maxim. Yeah, wrong memorization. Here you go. So that's now a solution that is O of h times w. Neat codes. Just, I recognize the name on YouTube. Did we talk in the past? I don't remember. my brain after 569 lead code problems. I guess your one's brain would be interesting to observe after solving 569 problems in one sitting. I wonder how possible that is. Okay, 10 solved. So next is obviously problem 11. Let's resize. By the way, in this problem 10, what also I considered is sorting numbers from small to big. Sometimes you need to do something maybe related to topological sort. Like topological sort allows you to do DP, basically. Okay, start problem 11. Straight line, each stone has a number, the stones change. Stone might split in two to make room. Every time you blink, they will simultaneously change according to the first applicable rule. 0 changes to 1. Even number of digits. Okay, so like 57 will be split to 5 and 7. If none other rules apply, stone is replaced, number gets multiplied by 2024. Okay, 0 changes to 1, even number of digits gets split, odd number of digits gets multiplied by 2024, which usually adds 3 digits. So usually the parity will change. Is that process always finite? Like, will we get a cycle? I'm guessing we will keep growing forever. Okay, and what do I do? After blinking 6 times that many stones, how many stones will you have after blinking 25 times? Well, we will do it with DP, right? I'm not going to simulate it. Or should we simulate it? Part 2 might be to simulate it for like billion times and provide the answer modulo of 1,000,000,007. Maybe that's solvable. Okay. I'm interested in what will happen if we just simulate. And the DP, on the other hand, would be for a number to know what would happen with it after some number of moves. If part 2 isn't about that, I will code it anyway. So, I don't know, this. Read the input. And then simulate. Let's use longs, right? Just in case. New V or something. V is new V. And we will print V size. For every number in V, if it's 0, then new V push back 1. Else, if to string of x length modulo 2 is 0, then we need to get 2 parts. I guess let's use this toString thing. V pushback. I keep forgetting C++ substring. Do we provide the length or what? It's position and length. Okay. We push back substring. So s.substring from 0 half the length, well, stall k over 2 length k over 2, and else v pushback x times 2024. Maybe this needs to be done in Python because the numbers grow too big. I'm curious to see what is the size and the max value every time. Size 0. That's interesting because it should be new v. New v, new v, new v. That actually was undefined behavior then. You cannot iterate a vector with auto and keep adding elements to it. Well, it's something. Size new v. That's the right answer. And will we now have like more blinks? How many stones after blinking a total of 75 times? So what will happen if I try 75? But finally, it might be an algorithmic problem. Let's also print the current rep. This doesn't overflow, right? No, no, it's small. Yeah, nice. Finally, something. Okay, I'm sure that small numbers get repeated a lot. So one possible speed up here is to combine all the small numbers to just say you have 50 repetitions of number 0. Actually, to see if that makes sense, we can, after 25 times, iterate the vector and print all the numbers. And if most of them are small, then it means that, well, many are small. There are some big, of course, but there are some small. So speed up number 1, and that, I'm guessing it will be enough, is that this shouldn't be vector of long-longs. It should be vector of pairs of long-long and how many times it appears. Or it can be a map. So map, well, map has its own constant factor. Yeah, let's have a map. It's convenient then. Map from long to, well, maybe it will appear many times, right? Or 2 at power 75. Yeah, let's make it like that. Okay, this v of tmp ++ map of long to long. By the way, long map is not the fastest we can do here. It's better to use a vector of pairs, push back to that, sort, and then collapse equal elements. Map has worse constant factor, so if I actually want to make my program as fast as possible, I would not use a map. Now, for every pair, then if this is a 0, then new v of 1 plus equal the count. Maybe let's here make count is pp.second. So if I have 0 appearing some number of times, then 1 appear that many times. If it's this thing, then new v of that. By the way, I'm sure that stall and substring functions are not very fast, and implementing them yourselves would be possibly faster. Plus equal count. And here new v of x times 2024 plus equal count. Okay. And print the total answer. So the sum of sizes. Total. Oh, the text, right, thank you. And the timer, I guess I didn't reset, right? Okay. Oh, and the file, I didn't put a new name. Well, too bad. 11 on in. That was the correct answer, right? I don't remember. Yeah, 183. And now, is it faster? Yes, it is. That seems to be close to the long limit. Yeah, that's right. Great. What else can you do? It will only be better by logarithm or constant factor, I think. But what you could also do is for every number, try to compute how many different numbers you get after some number of repetitions. So it would be, imagine that this is int dp of value by 75 or 76, where dp of, let's say, 123 is into how many numbers the number 123 turns after 3 blinks or 3 turns. But this map, it's similar. As many numbers as we're interested in will be in this map, and they would also be in this DP. So the number of states visited will be extremely similar. What would be more interesting is if this number is not 75, if it's like 1 million, I wonder if the set of numbers reachable is closed. I wonder if there is any such, I wonder if number is even divided by 2, and if number is odd, we turn it into 3 times x plus 1 or minus 1, whatever that was. I wonder if that process is infinite. What's the name of that? 3 times x plus 1 conjecture? Or was it minus 1? Collatz, yeah. Maybe you can run it for like 1 minute and see a cycle. Just verify it for some numbers. If it works up to 1 billion, then it must for sure work always. Yeah, and here, I don't know. Maybe we are relying on special properties of the number 2024. Maybe it is important what numbers we are starting with. Do I take coding problem requests from viewers? I saw one in an interview that I found really hard in a 20-minute time frame. Well, not today. I did some streams in the past where I did accept suggestions. Not today. We have only so many input numbers. It's hard to prove generally. Yeah. I have no idea right now. Intuition tells me if this process is finite, then usually we should expect it to finish fast. That being said, there might be properties of that multiplication. What was that? 2024. So maybe, you know, some kind of logarithm of that is involved. Mm-hmm. It will become even with at most 2 multiplications. Really? Why? If I have a number like 1 and it's odd, wait, so an issue is if number is odd. If 1 I multiply by this, it becomes even. But if 9 I multiply by this, then it's odd. If I multiply it again, but if it's odd, but it's very close to the lower bound for this length, right? So if I have something small like 5, let's say 4, this is even length and we have it. That being said, even if we divide it by 2, that might be not fast enough to combat the multiplications. Can we say that on average we divide by 2 half the times? but sometimes we multiply by 2024. No, but dividing by 2 means to compute square root. So it will be limited. Because to grow very much, you would need to multiply by 2024 3 times in a row. And I'm guessing that it's not possible. Let's see. Let's verify for a lot of numbers. If, let's have a function, is even, is odd. To string of x length modulo 2 is equal to 1. If is odd of x and is odd of x times 2024 and is odd of x times 2024 times 2024, then print x, print none, return 0. None. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it can be easily proven that no number can be odd all the 3 times, and for that you analyze what happens if x, it's like based on the decimal logarithm of x. So if x, first digit of x is 1, then something, then multiplied by 2024, the first digit will not grow too much, so the length will be greater by exactly 3. Same happens if this first digit is 2 or 3 or 4. 4 might overflow. For digits 4 through 9, after multiplying, it overflows once, so the length is greater by 4. But multiplying by 2024 will make this digit way smaller. I'm guessing the digit will be from 1 to, what's the maximum? 9,999 times 2024. It will be, well, 2. And if you don't multiply that by another times 2024, the first digit does not overflow, so you just get those 3 extra digits, so the parity changed. So every second multiplication you will square root it, and thus it cannot grow too much. You will multiply by this, maybe still multiply, you have this, then for sure you will square root, so divide by the length by 2. So at most I expect the number to be the input number times 2024 times 2024, and it will not grow more than that. So already it's a limit for number of operations of any kind of solution that memorizes. And then we can analyze more what kind of sizes of cycles we can get. I will maybe comment this out. Run again for the test. And I wonder, how many different numbers do we have at the end? v.size. 4,000. And I'm blindly guessing that if I increase this, it will not be more. Yeah, it's around that, so it's already cycle-ish. What I hate about CP is that it teaches you bad practices in terms of clean code. This was a beautiful problem, and the code you wrote is hard to understand. Imagine writing that at work. I mean, but don't you find some beauty in doing things fast? I don't know. So it's like watching a sport that is about speed, let's say shooting an arrow or shooting from a gun, and worrying about safety, let's say. Well, yeah, but it's a trade-off. (2.024 to the power 2 is smaller than 10, only one of them can overflow. Yeah, I agree then with Jaron. Is there a way to solve this for some binary lifting way? Yes, because now we expect that there is limited number of numbers, right? I think that now we have maybe 4,000 numbers and we cycle between them. So we could find the answer for 1 billion. Maybe the modulo is needed for the length, but that should be doable. Don't you worry, Erich, I believe you can write beautiful code at work too. You think that pp.first and pp.second is not beautiful code? Can you explain why you look only at this? So, in short, lemma is that x cannot be odd all the time, let's say. Specifically, you cannot multiply it by 2024 and multiply it again to make it still odd all the time. And the analysis was that if x starts with a small digit like a 1, and then let's say something, 7, 9, if you multiply it by 2024, this digit is so small that it's a little bit like multiplying by 1000, which will give you a number that is even length, so you will cut it in half and it will decrease by a lot. This first digit is too small for this to overflow, which means to give us a new digit here. And like Gupta said, quoting Jaron, what matters is that this squared, or 2 squared, is way smaller than 10. I can use auto. Oh yeah, makes sense. Yeah, sure. So you're saying that this exact thing will do for x comma count, right? I mean, there are a lot of I learned C++ at some point, let's say around C++ 11 or C++ before that, maybe 7 or something, and I don't really learn new things since then. But of course, this is so much cleaner. Thank you, Sema, for the suggestion. I'm very calming when I solve problems. Thank you. Thank you, Savage. Your comment so much does not match your name, your nickname in Twitch. Savage Banana Soup. Saying, thank you for your videos. They are calming and helping this old brain to understand things. Such a fitting nickname. No, I didn't want to close that. I wanted to close this. Reset the timer. This was 11. Wait, we solved version 2, right? Or not? Yeah. Okay, this was just old page. 11 solved, 1 problem to go. Let me answer something in the chat. Okay, here. Yeah, I agree with Gupta. S-boy, don't repeat the same long thing. It was too long for me to read. How come you stopped making videos for 2 years? It's not my job, and with videos, especially those on the main channel, I try to put a lot of effort in them. And when you stop for a month, it's hard to find a day when you tell yourself, yeah, now it's a good time to spend 10 hours to make another video. And they really take time if you think a lot about examples, explanations. Okay, 12, timer prepared. This I can close. Let's go. Problem 12. Single type of plant per cell. They form a region. So strongly, not strongly, connected component is a region. For example, here A's form a region, I'm guessing. The region's area and perimeter. The perimeter is number of sides, the blah, 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 yeah. Visually, I hope that we don't need to print that. Well, we just submit the answer. We have multiple separate regions, something, and the price of a fence is multiplication of area by perimeter. And we add this up. Okay. Easy stuff. S of row not F, row plus plus. For now I'm just reading the input, so nothing to explain. No. H is row plus 1, W is this. Now for every cell, let's run DFS from it. There is no dots, right? Yeah. So if not visited, run DFS. Already today we did run DFS in a grid, so nothing new. We need to iterate first mark as visited, then iterate the directions. R2 is row plus first part of the direction, column 2 is second. If it's inside and the same character and not visited, row call same as R2C2 and not visited, then DFS. To check if not visited, let's make those things global. I wonder, whoever complained about the quality of code, I wonder, do you think that this is also ugly code? And it's not that I'm saying it's not, I'm genuinely asking. There are 4 directions, up, down, left and right. Okay, and we need to compute area and perimeter, which I'm going to pass here. And obviously I know that global variables bad, but they are also very fast in terms of using them, how much time it takes to code. Even that should be global to actually make the coding part fast for me. Area, so area always increases by 1, and the perimeter increases by the number of neighbors that are not the same region. So if inside, if S of row column is not S of R2C2, or not inside, well, okay, then it's more complicated. If not inside, or S of row column is different, so it's different, it's in some way the end of a region, then run not run DFS, perimeter plus plus. And else if not visited, because that's the same region, do that, and we need to pass the area and perimeter. add the product. What I find interesting in the advent of code is that the input is the same, which actually makes it interesting for me as a problem author. I created many problems, and I think it would be difficult in many of them to create easy and hard version where the input is exactly the same. Right answer. That was 6 minutes. Just else? Why? Somebody said just else, but I do need this, right? Maybe I misunderstood your comment. Okay, text 12 part 2. I wonder how much the text covers my face when I code and my head is down compared to this. You could do else Perry. No, Gupta, that wouldn't work with just else, because I would incorrectly see my neighbors that belong to the same connected component but are already visited. So I couldn't just use else in that previous version. Okay, start part 2. Bulk discount. Number of sites. Okay. C has 8 sites. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. Oh, and here. So if there are few cells in a row, they have just one side. What about this? I will risk the following statement. The number of sides is equal to the number of corners. That's ugly. How to compute this nicely? What am I up to these days? Hi, Darren. I teach. Few days ago, I was doing programming camp for University of Warsaw, ICPC preparation. A month ago, I did actually Polish stage of ICPC, national finals. I was the chief judge. I created problems, organized it. And in a few days, I'm going to Wrocław for the CERC, Central European Regional Contest, as a coach of University of Warsaw, or co-coach. I didn't have the same character check. Yeah, I don't know, Gupta. I don't remember. Yeah, let's try to be smart about this. I will try to come up with some strange solution. So if you compute sides of a region, if you have like C, 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 you should count them as one side. But when does it stop? When there is C, and here there is something different, and here there is something different. So this is a corner. I'm going to count corners instead of sides, because number of corners is equal to the number of sides. Yeah, Glensko as well. So there are concave and convex already in the sample that was provided, that you can have this as well. So if you have 3 same characters here and there is something else there, this is also a corner. So I'm looking for this situation, that's a corner, and well, this situation with this requirement. For each of 4 directions, I'm looking for those shapes. I think that would be a funny solution. Yeah, I am not Spanish, at least not, I don't know about it. I wonder if I'm missing something. So for the perimeter, I'm not going to do this. And instead, How to easily find those corners? For two directions in a row, if they are good neighbors of mine, and the sum of their vectors, so if I add this direction and then add this direction, if this is bad, then something. And also for two consecutive directions, if they are both bad. Okay. First, let's make directions to be in order. Just clockwise or counterclockwise, doesn't matter. 0, 1, 1, 0, and 0, -1. That should be in order. Then I'm looking for two consecutive that are bad. Okay, look at two consecutive directions. I need now a function that will check, not here, maybe here inside, that will get a direction and it will do some checks with it. So it gets this and return inside of it, and the S value of R2C2 is equal to S of row column. This means that it's the same type, same region. Now, if not good of dir and not good of dir2, then perimeter plus plus, that's one type of corner. Also, if good of dir and good of dir2 and not good of the sum, dir first plus dir2 first, dir second plus dir2 second, per plus plus. Okay, it's something. And this we can also use the function. If good and not visited. Well, I need this. And I need to pass it anyway. Well, then I actually need that part. R2C2. Okay. There is very low probability that this works. But, well, low probability wasn't 0. Okay, I will once again maybe explain my solution because I find it at least interesting compared to previous problems. 7 minutes. I might missed interesting edge case. Möbius. You mean that it wraps around? Please make screencast of global rounds. But somebody does it already, right? The who nowadays always makes a stream, or I guess this is a stream with description of solutions. Well, I don't really do code forces rounds. Okay, so summary of what happened. Yes, I'm sure that there are other solutions too, and in the internet you'll find many where we actually try to find the bounds and try to find collinear sites. But there is this interesting property of polygons, and it doesn't even need to be 90 degrees. Whatever shape you create, I have a lemma. Number of sides is equal to number of vertices. I think that's quite easy to know that. So instead of sides, what I did is I counted vertices or corners. Our grid doesn't really have 45-degree sides, so it was always a 90-degree corner, though it could be convex or concave. as somebody said in the chat, wklęsłe or wypukłe. And what is really a corner? What's the definition of a corner? Well, we here have something inside, and just next to it we have something outside and outside. So I, for example, need to check if I'm somewhere. For every cell, as I do DFSs, what I do is I check if, for example, north is outside and also west is outside from me, my neighbors are up and left. That will be easier. Up and left. Also, if up and right is outside, then I see another corner, and that would be a different corner. Both of those things I count separately. If both are true, it just means that I'm a character. Maybe there is longer region, but what happens is this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. It just means that I'm this kind of I don't know, upper part of my region, at least here. So separately I do those checks, and in order to automate them, what I have in my code is vector of 4 directions in some order. What is it? Up, right, down, and left. The order is important. It cannot be up, down, left, right. It's important that it's clockwise or counterclockwise. So I could say for 2 consecutive directions, I check if into both directions I see a neighbor that is not in my region, that is a different character. I also do this for those 2 directions, for those 2 directions, and finally for last and first. Last and first works for me because of modulo 4. So always direction at I compare with I plus 1 modulo 4. This way you check every 2 directions. So if both are outside, then you see that you are a corner or a vertex of a polygon, so increase perimeter by +1. And there is that other thing, concave, that we see here. And the definition of concave corner is that you have something, you are a cell inside of the region, your up neighbor and left neighbor are also inside, but the outside, up and left, is outside. So this neighbor of yours. And what I did is to my coordinates, I added the vector representing up with vector representing left. If I add both of those, which happened here, I added coordinates of going up and going left for every 2 consecutive directions. I asked if it's outside that neighbor of mine versus those 2 are inside. And if so, then we have this concave corner. I could add else here because it's not possible for both scenarios to be true, but whatever. How do you handle some strip of same connected component coming from top downwards on column C and coming up to on column C plus 1? Is it a question to me? Because for me, I just rely on number of sides is equal to number of corners. In particular, it can have holes. I don't know if that appears in the input, but it seems that you're describing something like this. C, 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 I don't know if maybe this, and then again C, C, C. But in particular, I literally can have holes in my regions, like that, and I will compute corners. For this cell, I will see that this and this is outside, so this is a corner, but also this is inside, this is not, so this is a corner. So I will here compute that it has 8 sides. Here I don't see an issue. I mean, so if this is outside, then this will be a corner and so on. You could get every answer after first attempt? No, you saw me around 3 times today, not getting it first attempt. But top 10 is difficult against bots. I wonder which problems so far were not solvable by bots. Actually, we can check. By that I mean we can check the times. Leaderboard. Problem 12. Both stars. 1 star. Okay, 14 seconds. That's AI. You cannot read problem statements in such a problem that fast. You can do it in a minute. So I'm guessing that around 50 seconds, those are mostly legit scores. Those, I don't know. Those, for sure not. And then 6.5 minutes, that might be legit. If I tried very hard, well, top 10 I would get. I'm quite sure of that if I focused. Top 1, well, that's hard. Maybe if I immediately knew both versions, and while coding the first one, I could already think about the other one. Neil is 9th. Oh, right, Neil. And I wonder, for example, Neil, oh, he isn't here even. Here we go. Yeah, Neil is as legitly. Oh, and Kevin is 8th. Okay, so both of them are real users, and Kevin also didn't appear in the leaderboard of easy problem. Well, then it's good that hard version wasn't solvable by AI, not easily at least. Have you seen weird behavior of GCD versus underscore GCD? So is it different behavior for zeros, or what is it? Miscopied input, not wrong code? Yeah, today I once messed up because of miscopied input, but at least once it was wrong code, right? I don't remember now. Maybe somebody will count it later. In how many problems today I was incorrect? And in how many it was first attempt? I'm happy that ChatGPT couldn't solve hard part. Good for me and my job. And somebody earlier asked about DSU. Wait, I want to find it. Not in sync. I'm going to make a screenshot. There used to be a tool that allowed me to easily highlight Twitch messages, and now that tool is dead. Can you make a video on DSU? I have seen educational section and not so happy with that. I'm interested in why is that, because I think that Codeforce's edu section is quite good. Can you tell me more about it? What was wrong there? Codeforce's, because generally I try to avoid doing anything that is already described here. Disjoint sets union. Actually, by default, I do it smaller to larger. So I don't do ranks, I don't reconnect parents, so maybe it's different. But I don't recall this being bad in any way. So not in sync. Can you tell me more about why edu explanation is bad? Hi, Nilusek. Solaris says, I did something very slow. I checked every neighbor that was outside of the component, as well as the direction I went to go outside, and unioned with DSU, the ones where Manhattan distance was 1 and the direction was the same. I don't fully grasp the part about direction being the same, but it makes sense. You can get some, well, outside border. That's not stupid. I have never learned DSU like the way taught in edu section, which makes it tough for me. Okay, not in sync. That seems very subjective. I have written merge sort using parallel programming. Does it make it linear in time complexity? How many nodes do you use? So how many cores in parallel? And now regarding this question, I know there are many other topics that are not in the edu section, and I would describe them first. That being said, I know, no guarantees. So if you look at my YouTube channel, let me hide the text. This title is not longer needed. Let's just go to YouTube/Erichte. I can tell you something about the difficulty of making videos. Making a video like day one advent of code, this thing, is very easy. The video was 6 minutes, including the editing, which I can do fast if I don't care that much. It took me less than half an hour. So requesting me to do more videos like that, whatever. But I also am aware that it's more of entertainment than education to just see me code. Though still, you can learn from that, of course, but in my opinion, it's nothing compared to educational videos. And stuff like, let's say, prefix sums, or maybe something more interesting, sparse table, binary lifting, lowest common ancestor, those things take a day. Because I think about problems, links to use, about different implementation methods, about different drawings, and just thinking and planning takes so much time if you don't want to half-ass it. And because of how much time it takes, I just don't do it, because you need to sit down and think for the next, let's say, 10 hours, I'm going to work on this video. And it's not that I'm perfectionist, but I can so much postpone it and forever think about it. I'm sure that there are videos like this on my channel where I spend 50 hours thinking about it, planning it, not being happy enough, especially with harder topics. Like I've planned making a video on Berlkamp Massey or writing a code forces blog. Maybe even I started writing one. And it's not 50 hours on average, it's a day, but it's a lot of time. And just it's also so random how it performs. Of course, easy video is easier to make. Caesar Cipher, it was an experiment. For loops for beginners. Some videos I made thinking that there are teachers in school who want to show a video during the class, and it should perfectly be just a few minutes long. So even prefix sums here might be too long. But I know from many teachers, both in Poland and abroad, that they use my videos to show students. So such a series of beginners algorithms would be nice. But what gets most views on YouTube is videos where you just perform well in a contest. Facebook Hacker Cup round 3, I got to finals, 500,000 views. This year, actually, I was 1 digit away from getting to the finals. I wrote 100 instead of 101 in a for loop. DP expected values stream took at least 3 bring programming streams, if I remember correctly. Yeah, DP, it was a lot of work. But also, I think that actually so many people might have learned DP from my videos, so it was worth it. This is old series, this DP 123, and I don't think it has high quality. I would explain many things differently now, so maybe even I should just redo it with better examples, better explanation, better accent in English. But yeah, 300,000. There might be a few thousand people who learned DP from those videos where they didn't really knew DP before and they actually learned. Yeah, you're right, Gupta, that binary search we also discussed. Like, I saw 15 different versions of binary search. On Facebook, I asked my friends who uses what way of doing binary search. Not Insync says that I can take questions I solved recently and use mainstream algo and explain it so it doesn't take a lot of time to plan. But it's so much different. It's when you learn DP or you learn, let's say, sparse table, right? You can The idea of this video, which is 18 minutes, is that you can watch it and learn the algorithm. Versus, it's a waste of time for a viewer if I explain a problem that also has some other parts and in particular uses the algorithm. Because if you don't know the algorithm, I need to explain it from scratch. And 99% of the time, this is not a good problem to start with to learn an algorithm. It shouldn't be a small part of the problem. It should be just something that mainly is this problem, so you could focus on that. And this way you will for sure learn it fastest. Then, of course, once you want to practice it, it's best to solve random problems and just encounter it as part of the problem, part of the solution. But what you're suggesting, not in sync, indeed is so much easier for me to make, but I think it has so much smaller educational value. Most obscure algo or data structure I had to learn? Something with math, maybe discrete logarithm or square root, stuff like that. I should sell online courses. Oh yeah, that too. I want to write a book. I want to make a course, maybe for coding interviews. But I need to sit down and do it. Still Facebook? In Poland, people use Facebook. Actually, I don't use Facebook too much. I use just Messenger, though Facebook is still needed for events. In Poland, at least. Minimum bottleneck spanning tree in a graph? What is minimum bottleneck spanning tree? Minimum spanning tree in a graph, I sort edges from smallest and use DSU. Okay, thank you everybody for watching. I'm happy about the stream. How many views we have? 70 on Twitch, 120 on YouTube. That's great. 200 people watching. Thank you everybody for spending your time with me. Yeah, now just tomorrow I'm going to Wrocław for that Central European Regional Contest, the ICPC thing. So again, for a few days I will not be in town, and because of that, what I might do is in several days, just maybe in a week from now, I will do another stream with several problems, maybe same format, so YouTube and Twitch. We'll see. I don't know about the last few problems because from 21st I will be with my family and I don't want to really spend time streaming. Maybe after Christmas, like the end of December, we will do one final stream. But don't expect daily videos in the next 2 weeks. Thank you everybody for watching. If you want to contact with me, use Codeforces, or on YouTube you can find my email. I read most of the emails, but sometimes I don't have time to respond. Sorry about that. Sometimes a lot of people message me. Day 18 to 20 is usually hardest. Maybe then it will be something interesting. Okay. Most likely see all of you in a week or so, where I solve problems 13 through 17 plus minus 1. So have a good evening or day, whatever your time zone is. See you, and thank you for watching.